any closer to establishing a motive or why this happened?
Today, as you saw, Amanda quite courageously has come out and given a statement. What I really want to do is reawaken the consciousness of the public in relation to this murder. Tomorrow will be the third week anniversary of when Paul went out for drinks in the town centre of Renfrew, and whilst making his way home, was the victim of a brutal assault. An act of violence which rendered Paul unconscious. However, the assailant didn't stop at that point and carried out a sustained and rather brutal attack on Paul as he lay in the street yards from his home address. Is there any suggestion for whether he knew the person or whether it was a random attack? He may well have known his attacker, but it's too early to say. We can't rule out that this is just a random meeting in the street. At this stage, we're trying to establish what that motive is. What's happened? What's brought those two together? Has it been something that's taken place earlier in the evening in Renfrew in one of the pubs? We need to piece together why this took place. So today I'm appealing for anybody to reflect. Were they out in Renfrew that night? Do they know Paul Matheson? Did they see him that night? Did they speak to him that night? Anything at all suspicious or anything relative to the murder of Paul Matheson? There might be people sitting that have information regarding this. That just sits there because they don't talk to the police or they don't talk to, for whatever given reason. But when they see a grieving relative like that, they think, hold on a minute, that's a liberty. What that guy took that night, it's just a guy walking home from a pub. Nobody deserves that, and no family member deserves that. So that might just prick that wee bit of consciousness that they might say, all right, I'll make that phone call, or I'll approach a cop in the town centre, or whatever. So who knows? It's hard because it really is a courageous thing she's done. Amanda, and hats off. I'm just hoping it bears fruit because of what she's gone through for it.
It was really difficult. I'm not a public speaker, and to think that the person responsible or people that knew the person responsible might have been watching that was almost infuriating. To think that that person was watching you, pleading for them to come forward. And I think because it's so close to home, you analyse everyone in the street. You look at people and think, could it be you? Was it him? It was horrible to think that that person was out living their lives, knowing what they'd done to Paul and done to our family.
The sister of a man who died after being brutally beaten in a street attack has made a public plea for his attacker to be caught.
Police believe he could have known his attacker and are keen to hear about any arguments Mr. Matheson may have had either that night or before.
Right at our scene. What he did say, there was kind of adamant on, there was something on the right side of his face that was of interest, an indentation or a mark or a potential scar or indentation on the right side of the face.
He comes in about 6 o'clock. The bouncer mentions who he believes is the suspect has a mark or a scar on his right cheek, and that fits in with this guy. Play the footage on when he leaves. You can see it look like a pair of Nike Max that are reflecting in the light that's shining down to it. So you can see the heel and the laces. Very great Nike Max that look like to me.
Right. Let me just find out who he is.
Quite an interesting character to say the least. Got instinct, he's got a lot of questions to answer. Quite a kind of full of bravado, best way to put it. Quite distinctively, he has got a tattoo on the right of his cheek, just kind of on his cheekbone there, which obviously is interesting. He just doesn't lie well with me, I have to say, and I think you would have the same opinion.
He's a solid boy. He's quite happy to walk around in his shorts and that and show his muscles off, so he's been doing mixed martial arts for a number of years. When we seized the clothes, we seized obviously the trainers, we seized the jacket, and the jacket is a Montclair padded blue jacket with a broken zip at the front. Now, I don't know if there's anything from the original crime scene manager who said there was any zips lying on the ground or anything like that. I need to double check that.
Just in the last couple of days we've identified this guy. He may or may not be involved in this, but we're not 100% happy with him, is the bottom line.
So the teeth still in the
Aye, the teeth are on it, it's just the actual fastening that's missing. The zip part's going to be, if we see any of them, obviously we're seizing it, but any sort of zip section, but it's a long shot, we know that, but it's just that's how I was asked if we can give it a look. Right, magic. Okay, we'll tell one down then, eh?
It's been a hugely challenging inquiry at several levels. All the various elements, CCTV, appear to conspire against you more than in your favour. Forensically, it's been truly challenging to recover anything from the scene. In respect to this case, we've been waiting for what the fiscal refers to as just that little breeze. It would maybe take us over the line.
Anyway. Right, next one. have actually found it part of
clear inconsistencies in her statement as to what happened that night, and both of them have deleted text messages covering the period.
Tell me about your involvement in the murder of Paul Matheson. No comment. We know you sent text messages about the incident around the corner from your house. But when asked in your statements, you don't know anything. Why are you holding back that information? No comment. What are you hiding? No comment. You're smirking. There's no part of this in you, it's funny. You're completely listening to me at 22:14 hours.
So I caught glimpses at the end of the corridor. We were taking him through the back. It's quite smaller than I thought he was, to be honest. It's quite slightly built. The parade's the platform for all of this, so we'll see how the parade we get on with the parade.
How's it done? I asked him what he wanted the parade to do. He said he wanted the parade to all turn to the left, which they all did. He said he's similar to one of the numbers there. What number? Number 4. Number 4 is 636 guy. I said, how's it similar? He said, body structure and possible height. So big to the big guy.
That witness picking him out, he's just a million miles away from. He's picked out a guy 6'6". Okay.
To get a data, it looks doesn't resemble.
Not need to be.
No worries, mate. I appreciate that.
Yeah, you're very welcome.
Oh well. When you look at him, he is very slight. Part of the strands was clearly his ability to be able to carry out the attack, knock somebody cold with one punch. It's not looking like him, to be honest. I mean, don't get me wrong, we still need to work around him to eliminate him, but let's start focusing on other individuals. Whoever's responsible has kept it pretty close to the chest because we're getting not a sniff intel-wise. Normally, after this time, the dogs in the street, you're starting to get an idea of what's going on. Nothing.
We were told by the families and officers quite early on that we would need to wait for Paul's body to be released because they hadn't caught anyone for the offence. The rules in Scotland, the Procurator Fiscal have to give permission for the body to be released, and the defence have to have an opportunity at a post-mortem, so for that reason Paul's body had to be kept for when they do catch them and for their right to carry out a post-mortem. Quite early on I started to look into the reasons why we had to wait so long. Why couldn't a post-mortem be carried out by a defence team and be kept on record? And the more research that I'd done, I found out that actually only in Scotland this applied, and in England they had very different rules, so I decided to launch a petition with the Scottish Government to see if we could bring Scotland in line with England, and from then we met with the Lord Advocate and the Justice Minister. Hopefully families won't have to wait as long as we do for their loved ones.
Normally you do get a steady flow of information coming in. Some people don't want to give you statements, but there's very little coming in about this at all.
It's that old, I'm no talking to police, I'm no grass. So you've got to kind of appeal to people's better nature, which is the hard thing.
Well,
every single avenue. It's quite complicated, this. Not going to be easy. We're not going to get that gold now. Oh, great, that's a DNA hit through. It was such and such. Your beauty. That's probably not going to happen unless we get the shoes and something comes back forensically. So when you're out speaking to your TIEs, any hint of any negativity, as in your fuck off, you're not getting my phone. So we're not taking any snash off any of these individuals.
What's going to do?
We've got Jamie Anderson for the bit of board right on time, so meet him at his lawyer's office at 1 o'clock.
Is this the one in the house to pay the windows?
Aye.
Very good.
Another log come in over the weekend for Jamie Anderson. Anonymous was phoned in, so Jamie Anderson was responsible. Key's going to be seen him, see it to meet him, who he is and what he's all about. And then I think his phone's going to be critical as well. Jamie Anderson, we know, was an ex-partner of a female who probably from day one has been really at the centre of this inquiry. We have a motive, potentially. Anderson and Matheson don't appear to know one another, but they have a shared interest in this female. There's information surrounding various texts that have caused animosity. The phone numbers attributed to him were billed, and self-site analysis came back just last week, placing him in Renfrew. It appears he was in contact 40 minutes before the murder. He was going to score drugs. and he fits the general description of the assailant.
Some jobs are easier than others, that you get the footage straight away and you've got an actual named suspect, so really you're following their movements. That's a bit easy. This has been quite trying because I think we had about 500 hours of footage to go through. It's just a methodical way of looking through it and then logging it all. It's a slow process, but it's been worthwhile today. We found the movements of the suspect and a chemist earlier on in the night in question. But you're looking for that wee break in any inquiry, and then had a look at that, and then by chance just found him on the day in question. Tall, thin, fits the description of the suspect. But it worked out quite well, and it gave us a description of the clothing. And I think when you look, it does turn to a profile, and you see quite distinctive kind of shape of the head. I think you can see that on the actual footage just before the incident.